Welcome back to Trailblazer Weekly, live from the CEC Television studios. Well, the fall sports are all in full swing now, the golf teams included. Today we're pleased to welcome to the show women's golf head coach Lindsey Stucki. Coach, thanks for stopping by today and taking time out of a schedule that I know is very busy. We appreciate you being here and chatting with us so that we can get to know you better. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Like to have a little fun with all of the new coaches and any of the coaches that come in for that matter. But so before we dive in to the meat of the interview, we'll just want to ask you a quick question to help get to know you a little bit better. If you could walk out of this studio anywhere and you've got your clubs with you, you're headed out to the golf course, anywhere in the world, which golf course are you headed to? Where's your favorite place to play?
Well, I've never played it, but my first choice would probably be Augusta, where the Masters are played. I'm sure it would take advantage of me, but you know, it would be a good experience just to walk the grounds. I think I'd even enjoy that.
And that's okay. Maybe we keep it locally to either St. George or Utah, somewhere that you have played. What's your go-to course?
My favorite here is Sand Hollow for sure. I've worked out there as an assistant professional, and I just think it's so beautiful. Being from Canada, we don't have the red rocks like they have out there, and it's awesome.
Well, golf is certainly a wonderful game to be able to get out and play. I don't play well. I enjoy playing, but I usually chase that little white ball from left to right, and I get my money's worth every time that I go. But we're excited to have you here on the show and just talk with you a little bit. Obviously, you're starting your first year as head coach this season here at Dixie State. I want to rewind a little bit. Let's go back to this past summer. You hear that Rachel Harmon's, stepping down or retiring is a better word for it. She's been the only coach in the program at that point in its 4-year history. The job comes open. You apply for the job and you get it, and the rest is history there. But let's kind of fill in some of those details about that in-between time. What jumped out about the job? Why Dixie State?
Well, I'm actually a graduate of Dixie State, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. And my brother played for the men's team, so I kind of have that connection with Dixie State. Just women's golf in general. As I was teaching in the community, I found my niche kind of with girls golf and junior golf. So when it came about that the job was open, I was so excited because it's something I'm really passionate about. Like you said,
you've had other jobs and golf pros and individual instruction, a lot of that. Also, a couple stints at coaching at Hurricane High School a few years ago. What made you want to make that jump to get back into coaching, and specifically at the collegiate level?
I played collegiately at the University of Central Arkansas, and my experience was just a great experience. So the opportunity to provide young girls, young athletes, trying to create a special experience at the collegiate level was really what I wanted to do. And I feel like my background experience really lended well to that.
Absolutely. Of course, being a golf coach is a little bit different than being coaching football or basketball. Obviously, you can't call a timeout at a tournament and be there and help each one of your players set up each one of their shots. Yeah. I've always wondered, though, how much are you actually able to interact with each of your players at a tournament? It kind of provides an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, you always feel like you're neglecting someone. I learned at the first tournament, but I've kind of learned which players need help where, and they've let me know, and that's been the biggest learning experience for us as a team, is trying to figure out the dynamic and where everybody needs help in their game as far as on the golf course.
Of course, you've got that perspective from both, like as you mentioned, a player and a coach. Maybe stepping back, maybe from a player's perspective, saying, maybe they don't want the coach right there all the time, and they say, this is an individual sport. I'm kind of excited to just go out and do my own thing. Do you get that feel every once in a while as you're out with them?
Yeah, some of them don't want the help at certain points in time, and I'm fine with that. I just want to help them where I can.
Let's talk about this year's team. Obviously, a very young squad. You don't have any seniors on the roster. Maybe not an ideal situation for a first-year coach, but certainly some talented ones coming back. Like a Colbert Collinsworth coming back from last year, and you've got some great players coming into the program. But how much do you, as a coach, then rely on those that have been here in this program to provide kind of leadership role?
Yeah, we have 3 returners and only one, Colbert, as you mentioned. She's the only one that's had really any tournament experience. She's been really good at helping the younger ones calm their nerves, which has been our biggest problem, is just kind of getting the girls calmed down at the tournament so that they can play at the level that I know they're capable of.
A lot of new players, as we mentioned, and the returners are familiar names, but who are some of those names that we should be familiar with, those new ones that we're definitely going to get to know as the tournaments build up?
Yeah, we've got Katie Perkins. She's actually from St. George. She transferred from UVU, and she actually showed our best showing at the tournament, a tie for 7th, which was amazing in a huge field. She shot her best tournament round ever at 1 under. It was awesome, and she's going to be one to watch out for. As well as Taylor Bandley, who's also from St. George, which is kind of fun. It brings a lot of locals out to maybe show some support to our program.
You look at golf, and again, kind of another one of those interesting dynamics. I think a lot of people look at it and say, what do you do for practice? How do you get ready for tournaments on a weekly basis? Or on a bi-weekly basis, or however often you play those tournaments? Do you just out and strictly on the course playing 18 holes that day, or how do you draw that balance between out playing on the course and then saying, well, we got to do some range, we got to do some short games, some chipping, some putting? How do you draw that balance?
We're really working a lot on course management right now. All these players have the skills. It's just learning how to manage ourselves around the golf course in tournament play. Sometimes they make decisions that maybe aren't the smartest when they're not playing well, just maybe give up, but we're working on trying to navigate our way around the golf course.
So do you put excuse me, at practice, our players put into kind of a game like scenario? You're excuse me, you're in the rough, you got to make it to the green and get on the green and then get out of there. They put in certain scenarios like that in practice to help replicate the live tournament feel?
Absolutely. That's my goal, to kind of get them to feel those pressure situations. So I get them playing with different players on the team that they're not used to playing with, and put them in situations where they might not feel so comfortable.
You opened the season last week at Western New Mexico with a 16th place finish there. Don't necessarily need to talk about or dwell on the finish per se, but what did you learn in your first tournament of this young season that can help you going forward?
We learned that we have a lot of talent, but we have a lot to learn as far as how to handle ourselves in tournament situations and stay calm and realize that we're playing as a team now. A lot of these girls, because they were used to being stars on their own college team, it's hard to change that mentality and say, okay, every shot counts now. It's not just me. I'm playing for a team.
Of course, you get to host a tournament now this week, and you go on the road for the first tournament of the fall, and now you're back at home Monday and Tuesday at Sand Hollow for the Dixie State Invitational. How nice is that to be able to stay at home now? You don't have to worry about the travel with your girls. You don't have to worry about some of the stresses that come from being on the road. Players can sleep in their own beds. You can sleep in your own bed. The course is familiar. You go out. How nice is that to be able to do with your second tournament here in the fall?
It's going to be great. We've been practicing a lot out at Sand Hollow, and the girls are comfortable out there, so I think it's going to prove to be a huge benefit to us.
Do you know much about the teams that you're going to be facing at the Dixie State Fall Invitation? I know it's been kind of an annual thing.
Yeah.
Kind of give us the lowdown on kind of the competition that may be there on Monday
There's
and
some
Tuesday.
strong teams for sure, most of which we saw at the Western New Mexico tournament. So we know we've got to play well if we're going to compete.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you stopping by. I know it's a busy time of day to take time out of your schedule and to come by here and to be with us, but we really appreciate it and appreciate the opportunity to get to know you better. We wish you well throughout the season and the best of luck in all these tournaments. We'll be keeping a close eye, and of course we'll have all the results right here on the show as well, but we appreciate you stopping by and taking time out of your schedule. Before we let you go, we have our Trailblazer Weekly hard hat, kind of symbolizing the hard work that the good folks here at CEC put into building this new locker, this part of the set, and we're excited to be able to have our interviews here. We want you to sign that.
Great.
If you will, just
Sure.
put anywhere you want there on that helmet, and we can kind of go back and say these are the great people and great coaches that we've had on the show here on Trailblazer Weekly. So we appreciate that, and now it's notched in history forever. Head coach Lindsey Stucki making her appearance here on Trailblazer Weekly. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks again, Coach, for having me.
It's time for our next break. When we come back, we take a look ahead at the next week in Dixie State Athletics. We'll also hear from women's soccer senior Aubrey Detmer in our player profile feature. We are back with more after this.